Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I guess it's actually new afternoon on the East Coast now when I start. We got a good show today. A lot of variety. Apple is launching some new stuff. They are supporting a brain implant control of its devices. Sounds interesting, sounds sweet. Nvidia, there's a lot of Saudi Arabia news right now. There's I was actually watching it before stream. Trump is speaking at some conference. Elon Musk is there. Like, some tech people are there. And there's been a lot of AI / chip / tech announcements and related relation to that. Nvidia is sending a bunch of chips there. They also Saudi Arabia also launched Humain, which is a new AI company that's funded by their sovereign wealth fund. In that vein, they also picked Grok, not Grok with a Q, not Grok with a K, chip maker for inference. Humain did, so Saudi picked them, and this is an American company. It's interesting. Microsoft is cutting 3% of its workforce, laying off 3%. And then Perplexity is raised a new round, valuating them at $14 billion. It's got a lot, and they got some videos to go along with it, and some more. But actually, let's start with inflation. Inflation picked up 0.2%, which might not seem like a lot, but it should be going down. And we watched the Fed meeting. We watched the Federal Reserve meeting last week, and they said they're going to wait and see, that they could afford to wait because things are looking like okay for now. So this could be an indicator. Now it's 6 weeks. The next meeting is the 18th, I think. So we should get May's inflation data before the Fed meeting. So we'll see on that. But it did go up. April's annual inflation cooled to 2.3%, the lowest since February 2021. For supply chain issues, prices rose 0.2% month over month. Yeah, it says Trump tariff policies cause market swings, with businesses struggling to adjust to unpredictable trade measures. Yeah, businesses don't like predictability. They want to know that their future investments are good ones. Or at least in the right direction. So, yeah, this is to me, this is kind of something that is looming over the Trump administration. I mean, it seems like they're not really worrying about it, because I think they know that tariffs might slow the economy down, so that might affect inflation, but yeah. So keep paying attention to this. All right. Let's start with a video. And then we'll lead right into Nvidia. Yeah, actually, I just want to save this for later. Here we go.
Speaking of, shares of Nvidia are jumping this morning. This after its CEO Jensen Huang spoke in Riyadh at the Saudi Investment Forum. He gave some possible clues about a change in export restriction policy. That's a key for Nvidia. And Christina Partsinevelos is here to give us some details. Christina.
Thank you, David. Well, in a surprising shift, also, Jensen Huang ditched his iconic leather jacket for a suit also in Riyadh today as he unveiled NVIDIA's partnership, like you mentioned, with Saudi Arabia, specifically to build a massive 500 megawatt data center with Humain, which is the kingdom's new AI venture. The real showstopper, though, from NVIDIA's CEO was that he was directly referring to Blackwell chips on stage. Listen in.
But this is 2 Blackwells, and it's 2,500 watts, 2,500.
Okay. Also, Jensen Huang doesn't wear a leather jacket when he's like politicking. That's when he went to China recently. No leather jacket, suit and tie. Saudi Arabia, suit and tie. I feel like this is Jensen Huang like playing politics. Is like he puts away the leather jacket.
2,500 out of the 500 gigawatts.
But bro, look at those shoes. Those leather shoes, bro. That's where he's getting his drip from. He's still got these. Looks like some sort of fancy leather shoes here.
Computing infrastructure that's going to be built.
To see those chips on stage because those are NVIDIA's most advanced chips. Saudi Arabia can now secure access to technology which was previously restricted in the region and also really marks a significant policy change from Washington. So until now, companies like NVIDIA, AMD.
This is also. We'll watch this and I'll share my thoughts. We'll watch this.
Needed special U.S. licenses to export advanced semiconductors as well as semiconductor equipment to many countries in the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates. And that was largely due to concerns over the Middle East close ties with Beijing. Saudi Arabia, keep in mind, largest trading partner is China. But as Saudi Arabia pushes towards its Vision 2030, what it calls, which has a goal of having AI contribute 12% to its GDP just in the next several years, this partnership with NVIDIA could be transformative. Why? Because NVIDIA will be able to access new markets across the Middle East, signaling a new chapter in both U.S. export policy as well as the global AI infrastructure race. And a press release was just put out now from NVIDIA, and they say that they're going to be deploying hundreds of thousands of GPUs in Saudi Arabia, especially.
It's crazy, I guess, because I get NVIDIA, like they're still trying to do business, but I guess how does that benefit the US? Like, it seems like, and they might get into in this article here. It seems like Trump is using NVIDIA as like negotiating leverage. And I wonder how Jensen feels about that, and if business is still it's still fine for business. I guess why would you just not sell those domestically when the domestic companies need them? And like she just said, like China's Saudi Arabia's biggest trading partner. Who's to say there's not any sort of leak there? You know, I don't know how trustworthy as like a political partner Saudi Arabia is. I mean, that's for the politicians to decide, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. This does seem a little weird.
Over the next 5 years, about 18,000 specifically of the Blackwell GB300 in the next 5 years.
Those are the big ones.
So, Christina, this is enlarging the pool of buyers, of approved buyers for NVIDIA for the highest capability processors, I guess. Are we no longer at a point where everyone's being rationed and there's kind of supply issues here? In other words, NVIDIA can sort of service this open-ended demand?
I think this would fall in line with President Trump's original.
And there's buyers, of approved buyers for NVIDIA for the highest capability processors, I guess. Are we no longer at a point where everyone's being rationed and there's kind of supply issues here? In other words, NVIDIA can sort of service this open-ended demand?
I think this would fall in line with President Trump's original task of making a country-by-country negotiation. Remember, this week was supposed to be the AI diffusion rules on May 15th, which would have put all of these countries in tiers, and they would have been restricted on the number of chips they could receive from, let's say, the likes of NVIDIA. Now, having this announcement, it shows that President Trump is moving ahead with his individual country by country deals. So going.
Wait, so they're essentially kind of saying what I was like, similar saying, where it's like, it seems like this is, they're using this as leverage for Trump to spark some sort of trade deal as well.
Going forward, we'll probably hear an announcement with the UAE being the next one. The New York Times put out a report yesterday about the certain AI company in the Emirates that did receive some NVIDIA chips. So
I might have that story too, actually.
we'll see how this progresses going forward with individual countries as opposed to just a blanket rule from the U.S. government.
And Christina, in terms of the de-escalation in the trade war with China, but still was the ban on the H-20s, the $5.5 billion write-down NVIDIA took as a result. Do we have any expectation of what they're going to be able to sell into that market?
The expectation is that there will be another chip. It's not necessarily
$5.5 billion.
A blanket rule from the U.S. government.
And Christina, in terms of the de-escalation in the trade war with China, but still was the ban on the H-20s, the $5.5 billion write-down NVIDIA took as a result. Do we have any expectation of what they're going to be able to sell into that market?
The expectation is that there will be another chip. It's not necessarily a workaround. It's just every time NVIDIA has to come out with a new chip that falls under the threshold. They've done so over the last several years, and they will continue to do so going forward. So the assumption is maybe it'll be the H-20 that'll be just revamped a little bit so it falls underneath the threshold. There are two camps of people that are there, argue that this is NVIDIA going underneath the threshold each time, really seeking out profits.
There is a game to be played here with NVIDIA trying to still sell chips into China. And if the administration plays it correctly, I feel like it could slow them down potentially. Like, I do think, like, yeah, let's finish this. And
still maintaining that relationship with China. Or there's the other flip side where people are saying, here, NVIDIA's caught in the middle, a negotiation tactic, or chip, I should say, between President Trump and all of these countries.
I think it's I think it's this one, what she's saying. NVIDIA is caught in the middle.
When really they just want to.
It's like, bro, Jensen wearing the suit is like a cry for help. It's like him like blink twice if you need help. It's like Jensen just puts on a suit instead. It's just like, guys, help. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. Like, it's like she's just saying like how Jensen's caught in the middle. And like they're like, oh, no other suit. They're like, owner, what's up? It's like, what's up is Jensen's like borderline being held hostage, and he's like, help, help me.
Jensen Huang has said previously that China is not far behind at all. So really, is it helping by blocking complete ties with the country when they are already making advancements on their own soil?
Yeah, he obviously has been vocal on that point. Christina, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think if the Trump administration could play this correctly, it could potentially slow China down. Huawei just released a bunch of chips, although I think China is smart. Like, they're playing it smart as well. If we like flood now their market with a bunch of chips that are just barely better than like Huawei's 920C D whatever letter, it could, like, I feel like it could delay the rollout of the Huawei ones, or even just under Huawei, like what Huawei could do, but maybe it like has less power, although it doesn't matter that much. But I feel like that they could kind of like keep doing things like that to like delay the rollout or delay the full usage of China's own chip, to then so that they get less usage of it, i.e. less testing or something, less like hours clocked on it to get more things ironed out, bugs ironed out, and just kind of like mess with them in that sense. Like, that could be a viable option, maybe. I don't know how effective that would be, but I think that there is a play here to, like, a strategic play here for United States against China and using NVIDIA, unfortunately. Sorry, Jensen, but yeah. Okay, then let's watch this here, and then we'll read the article about NVIDIA.
We've just come off discussing how maybe the
This is Bloomberg Technology. U.S. to pull back on AI chip restrictions.
equation of what is profitable in AI infrastructure here in the U.S. is changing. How much does the abandonment of AI diffusion rule help or hinder those sorts of maths?
Well, sorry.
We've just come off discussing how maybe the equation of what is profitable in AI infrastructure here in the US is changing. How much does the abandonment of AI diffusion rule help or hinder those sorts of maths?
Well, the diffusion rules being mitigated by the Trump administration was an important step forward because, quite honestly, they didn't make any sense to limit the technology to go to a wide swath of countries that really, in many cases, were our friends, not foe.
That's fair.
And so the question is, what comes next?
Yeah.
And what are the rules that they will put in place to hold the strategic kind of lead that they perceive?
What's interesting?
That they perceive. That's interesting. Like, that's interesting. That is an interesting way, like, take on it, because I think each side likely perceives some sort of lead over another, i.e., U.S. versus China. But I think they're genuinely, each side has its strengths. You know, like, each side does have the things that we're in the lead in. But I think it just comes down to, like, what each country is, like, good at. Like, America's free market, China's, like, hyper focused development of markets. You know, or creation of competition, I guess. I don't know how you say it, but
is, as you say, countries that were deemed allies, Israel, India, suddenly on a tier 2 level, not as able to access as many sophisticated chips as they'd wanted to.
I can't pause. Our professionals are moving it to 1.25. I would not trust India right now. Bro, after the Pakistan bullshit, I don't really, like, the history there is, like, goes way back, I know, but India is kind of a wild card, I feel like, especially with Modi, and they are very close to China, and likely, yeah, I don't know about India, though.
As able to access as many sophisticated chips as they'd wanted to. That was the proposed AI diffusion rule. But now we come to this awkwardness where it's going to be sort of a case-by-case basis, country-by-country basis. Malaysia, where Oracle wants to be putting a huge data center, for example. When are we get any clarity on that, and how do you start to see companies and countries navigate it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, they're going to use it almost as a bartering tool in these trade negotiations, and it is a strong bartering tool. I think, however, the administration has to be very careful that we have to look after our own strategic initiatives and own...
Yep, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, he's using these chips as negotiating, but it's like, maybe we just kind of need these, like, domestically more instead of it's like, instead of maybe imposing some sort of artificial raise on prices for tariffs and then using our own chips to then negotiate them down, like, what? Like, I don't know, man. Like, to me, this seems a little backwards. Should be the countries coming to us, but, clearly that's not how it's working.
Strategy for national security, but we cannot overreach. And in part because there is a very viable competitor with Huawei. We want to pretend that NVIDIA is a monopoly. It is not. Huawei has shown an incredible prowess over the last 2 months even. They've introduced these fantastic chips in fantastic racks.
Like the 920D,
with
920C,
NVIDIA. So if we
or B.
push too far on this, there is an alternative for the Malaysias to move to a different vendor.
So when that...
Yeah, that's a good point, too. That's very good. That's very true. Especially just the countries within China's, like, geographical area of influence, mainly. It's interesting. Yeah, I might look more into that. I've been very curious about more so the geopolitics of AI lately, and I think, I kind of, my latest video, you should go watch it if you haven't, on my YouTube channel, I talk about kind of how we look at OpenAI for countries, and I kind of compare the data center in these countries that OpenAI wants to run AI in for the country that wants it, to similar to something like military bases. And I think that's kind of and like chips are also like a bargaining power and an area of influence that they could be used as leverage as well, similar to data centers. And the chips are more immediate. Like we could trade them right now. Data centers take a long time to build and stand up. So it's interesting like that now AI is being used as the supply chain for AI is being used as one of the biggest bargaining chips, literally and figuratively, for Trump's tariffs, in not something like military, and I know that the chips do play into national defense, but like, I guess I'm seeing it's like the military protection's like passe. It's like old now. It's like everyone has their, alliances and own military protection and like, weapon supply chains. And now they want the new weapon, which I'm referring I'm as a weapon similar to something like nuclear technology, because arguably I think that's what it kind of is, shaping out to be. I could see in the future, I could see a future where AI becomes the equivalent of what nuclear weapons are now. It's like the United States has this all-powerful AI, and it's like, you don't want to fuck with us because we could release our AI on you and, have it hack your systems or some bullshit, just as... But, let's use China as an example. Let's say China also has a very powerful AI. We likely don't want to mess with each other because we don't want our AIs going to war, because it might lead to some sort of mutually assured destruction, just like it would with nuclear weapons. And I think that that's kind of going to be what the future is going to be like going forward. It's like the AI is being used for negotiation leverage. It's being used for trade leverage, for national security. And I think we're going to have like AI nations that are, kind of like nuclear armed, but they're like AI armed. Or it could just be whoever has the most compute just wins, and us giving chips is gonna just make us lose quicker, and China being able to rally industry much quicker, they're just gonna win just because of that plain fact. And then, in turn, they could go to their, allies and countries that they want to win over and use some sort of negotiation of building industry quickly, or being able to transfer chips, something like that, quickly, to win leverage over us. The last part I don't really know, but like my whole nuclear analogy, I think is I think that's spot on. Potentially. It's a speculation, but I think it's like a good speculation. Okay, anyways.
Argument comes from Jensen Huang that I actually want to not only access Malaysia and Indonesia and, well, most of Southeast Asia, but I also want to sell into China still. Should he be able to?
I do think that we're looking at this in the wrong way, to be completely frank. Let's think about DeepSeek. DeepSeek's innovation actually is helping our models. And Facebook is adopting some of the innovation that came out of DeepSeek.
Yeah, mixture of experts.
One thing we can't forget is that innovation begets innovation. And you cannot stop that kind of life cycle of innovation. And if we slow innovation in China, we're slowing innovation here as well.
That's a good point. That's very
what
true.
I think this should focus on.
But like, it's true to an extent, but it's kind of a dangerous game to play. Because if we don't then want to slow down China, assuming that we will always be caught up or like one step ahead, we're going to have to play ladder to the point where China may sometimes be ahead of us, so that then we could like learn and catch up. It is kind of dangerous. That's not that's the American way. That's how domestically Americans play. But when it comes internationally, it's like, bro, we're trying to rig it in our favor. Let's be real.
Is in fact IP theft. So focus on making sure that our cycle of innovation, and if we slow innovation in China, we're slowing innovation here as well. So, what I think this should focus on is in fact IP theft. So focus on making sure that our IP across the board.
That's just not like, China's just not going to enforce that though. Like, why would they?
for GPUs, but any kind of equipment, whether it's robotics or medical equipment, that's not being stolen by the Chinese, right? Instead of kind of fighting over the widgets. So I think we like to think of this as,
That's fair,
are you
though.
friend or foe, or are you? And perhaps there's some place in the middle where we can't treat China as this enemy of the people when they're really not. They too are innovating at a pace that is probably faster than we are.
So when a CATL is looking to list in Hong Kong and US residing investors aren't able to access that, how does it make you feel as a portfolio manager who wants to be able to thrive in innovation worldwide?
Yeah, frustrating. But you know what is also frustrating? A CATL wanted to build a factory here, a few years ago and was stopped by the Biden administration. They actually
CATL?
wanted to move manufacturing back to the US and weren't able to.
Chinese battery company. Contemporary Amperex Technology Limited. To make batteries. This is kind of a cool website. There is like a look to like Chinese websites. I don't know how to describe it. I also love the fonts. Like this, I love the logos. It's they're always very sleek, almost very cyberpunky.
So that too is frustrating as an American to have, that the initiative.
Yeah, but like I do see the national security standpoint. Like if we have like let's just say that this is like if a battery manufacturer comes here, like I get though not allowing them here though. Because now it's like what's gonna happen is they're just gonna they're gonna have a bunch of people from China come in and work in these plants. And it's just gonna be like a like arm of. I see it as like a place where they could just like import spies, essentially. And yeah, they're the biggest EV and electric and energy storage battery manufacturer in the world. I just see I could see national security problems with that, I guess.
Initiatives of bringing manufacturing back of these technologies to the U.S. is being hindered, which hopefully will stop with this administration. I think CATL, us not being able to access it, this too will be overcome, and I think these are hurdles along the way that we'll have to work through with the Chinese and the Trump administration.
Uncle, you were very clear that you did not want the AI diffusion rule and you felt that it was just harming most people in this environment. What then as a portfolio manager do you do in this current lack of clarity, the fact that it's going to be a case by case? Do you still think NVIDIA will be able to compete well, will be able to access markets? And you go from the optimistic side of things, do you start to add on in this point?
I think it only makes sense to allow for our technology giant NVIDIA, who, quite honestly, is the pride of our nation at this point, right? They are driving forward the AI revolution.
Not wrong, bro. NVIDIA's made me a lot of money.
And so I do think that over time, I think by September, we'll have very clear boundary conditions around where we can and what we can or cannot ship.
And IP will be protected, do you think?
And I hope IP will be protected. And I think that's the most important thing here. IP should be protected on a go-forward basis across all industries with a commitment from the Chinese government to make sure that that is in fact the case. Because we can't have industrial espionage.
It's just impossible to enforce, like, from the United States perspective. Like, if I was China, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll do it, we'll do it. And then just, like, you don't, and then, like, then what? It's like, okay, we're gonna, like, threaten them, but, like, China has a lot more bargaining power.
Espionage occurring all over throughout many industries. So I feel very optimistic for the rest of the world and for China that we will sort through this because, we are a globalized world. And we can't pull back from that.
Yep.
We can bring manufacturing back here, which I wholeheartedly believe in, but in a controlled way.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so the practicality of it. Like, it's just not, like, in the time frame that Trump wants, it's just not gonna work. So, okay, let's read this here. NVIDIA is sending 18,000 of its top AI chips to Saudi Arabia. So we kind of saw this already, but this is just details, I guess. NVIDIA will sell over 18,000 of its largest artificial intelligence chip. And this is CNBC, by the way. I'm going to start being better about narrating what's happening, just because I might start uploading audio here, so just the audio podcast like. Okay, NVIDIA will send over 18,000 of its artificial intelligence chips to Saudi Arabia company Humain, and we'll look at Humain after this. CEO Jensen Huang announced on Tuesday. The announcement was made as part of a White House-led trip to the region that includes President Donald Trump and other top CEOs. Cutting-edge Blackwell chip will be used in a 500 megawatt data center in Saudi Arabia, according to remarks at the Saudi U.S. Investment Forum in Riyadh today, on Tuesday. It's today, I guess. I don't know if it's probably like nighttime there, right? NVIDIA said its first deployment will use its GB300 Blackwell chips, which are among NVIDIA's most advanced AI chips in the moment, which are only officially announced earlier this year. Yeah, it's crazy they're sending the best ones right away. Tuesday announcement underscores the importance of NVIDIA's chips as a bargaining tool for the Trump administration as countries around the world clamor for the devices which are used to train and deploy advanced AI software such as ChatGPT. Yep. And I guess this is borderline confirming, I guess. I guess it's just crazy that NVIDIA is just a pawn now. Like, I wonder what their business is like. I guess they have earnings in 2 weeks, the 28th. Like, I want to know what it's like now running, like, trying to sell and stuff with all the restrictions. I'm so delighted to be here to celebrate the grand opening, the beginning of Humain, Huang said. It's an incredible vision, indeed, that Saudi Arabia should build the AI infrastructure of your nation so that you could participate and help shape the future of this incredibly transformative technology. And Jensen is a businessman, so like he's likely willing to just sell to anyone who will take it, regardless of like national security. Like he's gonna sell as many as he can to anyone he can, and he's gonna it seems like he's gonna let the government decide like how much. But like otherwise, he's defaulting to his like the max. Last week NVIDIA shares rose 6% in trading on Tuesday. Last week's Department of Commerce said that it was going to scrap what it called President Joe Biden's rule on and implement a much simpler rule. What rule on what? NVIDIA is also seeking to be required to seek an export license for its AI chips since 2023 because of national security concerns. Humain will be owned by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund and work on developing AI models as well as building data center infrastructure, according to a press release. Humain's plans eventually include deploying several 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs. Saudi Arabia is rich with energy, transforming the energy through this giant versions of these NVIDIA AI supercomputers, which are essentially AI factories. Jensen loves to call the data centers AI factories. All right. This is the press release. Humain will operate and invest across the AI value chain. PIF is in Public Investment Fund, contributes to positioning Saudi Arabia as a global competitive AI hub. Today launched the announcement of Humain, a PIF-owned company. It will operate and invest across the artificial intelligence value chain as a unified operating company. Most powerful multimodal Arabic large language models. Yeah, it is Global AI Index published in 2024 ranked Saudi Arabia as the world's leading in terms of government AI strategy. Okay. Humain will streamline various data center initiatives, produce hardware, and accelerate the adoption of AI technologies. The company will serve as a regional and global AI hub for strategic sectors. including energy, healthcare, manufacturing, and financial services. The company will also foster local innovation, create intellectual property, and achieve national AI inspirations. Consolidate Saudi Arabia's position as a global leader in enabling the most advanced data and AI technologies and attracting investment opportunities as well as the best talents in the sector, both locally and globally. Our investments, giga projects. I kind of remember this like entertainment thing. Maybe it's something else. What happened? What's that, like the line or some shit? Like that like building they're gonna build through the desert that's just like one big line. And then same company, Saudi's new AI firm picks chipmaker Grok for inference. Grok being an American company that makes chips or like servers specifically for inference. And there's quite a few inference only companies that are like, you know, speed up inference. Grok is one. Descartes AI is technically an infrastructure company who did the generative Minecraft. They're able to do the generative Minecraft because of their optimization technology behind the scenes. So yeah, and here's some others, but Grok's clearly in the lead. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund backed artificial intelligence company Humain, which we'll look at in a sec, I know I keep saying that, has selected US chip makers and Nvidia competitor Grok for its inference work, and has tapped Aramco's former head of digital, Tarek Amen, to lead the company, according to two people with the knowledge of the matter. Aramco being the Saudi Arabia's oil company. They're like, I think they're like the most profitable company in like the ever. But Saudi Aramco. So that makes sense that they tapped like their largest, their other largest, you know, the company, or their largest company. Humain launched on the eve of U.S. President Donald Trump's visit to the kingdom. Will consolidate Saudi Arabia's massive investment in AI in recent years into one holding company chaired by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The company, backed by the Public Investment Fund, plans to offer AI services, data centers, cloud capabilities, and an Arabic large language model. Grok, a California chipmaker founded by former Google executive, will be at the core of some of these efforts. The firm uses an alternative to the GPU-based system favored by market leader NVIDIA. Yeah, but to be fair, some of the NVIDIA's chips are likely overkill for inference. You know, training is just like much more compute intensive, so I don't know. And I think though diversifying your chip, that could be it could be good for like risk, but it's likely not for like implementation. Maybe, I don't know. Grok says that systems can perform faster inference, the step when trained large language models respond to individual prompts. NVIDIA remains the leader for training capabilities. Yeah, I mean, but it's just because training just requires more compute. A PIF, Public Investment Fund spokesperson, didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. Data center compound annual growth rate. Here's Riyadh, Dubai, and global. This is a forecast through 2027. So it looks like Riyadh's like, you know, like 37%. Dubai is like 17. Global average is like 15. It's crazy that they're building so much data center capacity. I just wonder what they're using it for. Grok plans to expand its data center in Dammam. I'm not saying that right. after securing a $1.5 billion commitment from Saudi Arabia in February aimed at developing the kingdom's AI infrastructure. Dang. I wonder if this includes any ownership. Gulf nations work with American technology companies is under scrutiny as the Trump administration mulls overhauling Biden restrictions on chip exports. Riyadh has emerged as the fastest growing market for data centers in the Middle East and aims to soon catch up with Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. I thought Abu Dhabi and Dubai were the same place. In the race to build up the power and capacity needed to fuel the AI boom. Interesting. Wait, so Abu Dhabi. Okay, so they're actually different cities. I never knew that. So Abu Dhabi is the capital of United Arab Emirates, UAE. Dubai is the most populous city. Interesting. Never knew that. What the fuck? This is crazy. Uranium floating around in seawater? When was this? This is today. Okay, let's read this real quick. It says China develops method to extract uranium from seawater. Chinese researchers developed an efficient, low-cost way of extracting uranium from seawater, which they hope will boost their country's nuclear expansion. China's way further ahead on nuclear power than the United States. So the oceans are estimated to hold 5 billion tons of uranium. What the hell? Like underwater? Or just like floating in the water? 1,000 times more than can be mined, but the dissolved minerals are dilute and difficult to gather. The new system involves trapping uranium atoms with electrical fields. It was 10 times as efficient as physical methods and 1,000 times cheaper than previous electrical techniques. Half of all nuclear plants under construction worldwide are in China. Yep. And authorities recently approved 10 more, but the country imports most of its uranium, so the domestic source could be transformative. Oh, that's interesting. Never knew that. I can't even believe the United States is this high. But China's down here just because they have so much other power, I feel like. They do still have a lot of nuclear plants, so it's crazy that they're down this low. Dang, these Nordic countries really like nuclear. Okay, let's look at Humain now. So this is the company that we've been talking about, the Saudi-backed public investment funded AI company. It's Humain, the end of limits. The future won't wait, and neither will we. We combine human judgment with AI execution to build systems that get things done faster, smarter, and at scale. So I guess I don't really know what services they provide right now. It seems like there's a link to cloud, but it just goes to Grok. Humain is the most efficient AI platform on the planet, powered by Grok. I really like their font. Like in the branding. We build the entire AI stack, data centers, cloud, models, and applications, so you don't have to piece things together out of the box, end to end, with Humain as your single partner. I believe it's simple. AI isn't an add-on, it's the foundation of the future. Alright. So what we're building, areas of focus, applications and solutions, full stack solutions designed to transform industries, from smart cities to sovereign governments. Had to throw that in there. Energy systems, financial markets, we tailor AI powered products that adapt, learn, and solve. So I mean, it seems like they're just a implementation company, and then it actually does seem like they're focusing more on like the Middle East. Because it also seems like Bro, the fact that it's called alarm, like salam or something, or like, right? Or am I out of place there? Like, I guess it's a good name for like what they are, like for the region. I don't know. Arabic first large language model. But if this is their AI model that they're focusing on, then like it's really only applicable to, you know, countries that speak Arabic or similar. Data platform, manage full data lifecycle, ingestion pipelines, orchestration, infrastructure, provide compute speed and scalability that modern AI demands from AI training infrastructure like GPUs and next-gen inference engines powered by LPUs, which is Grok. We architect performance from the ground up. Okay, so Alam is, you could try it. I can't. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but all right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I just don't really know. It seems very specific to the Middle East, really. So this must be the Ramco guy. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see to like what they're actually gonna do and who they're gonna work with. But I guess the thing to take away from this is that it's interesting seeing Trump use Nvidia's chips as like bargaining power. That's what I think the takeaway is from this. Yeah. All right. Oops. I need to start saving my tabs actually. Okay. Let's look at some big tech drama. What is this? Oh yeah, we'll look at this later. Oh yeah. We covered this already here. Actually, before we move on to big tech, let's cover Perplexity here. Perplexity raised more. Perplexity has raised a lot of money like in the past like 6 months. Like I feel like since like last November they've raised like 3 rounds, continually increasing their valuation. And it seems like Perplexity is one of the like leaders in terms of actually being useful right now. I use Perplexity a lot. Probably it's the AI service I use the most right now, because internet search is very relevant still. But notably, yes, we are waiting on their browser, their agentic browser, Comet, which they said, I heard on the technology TBPN live stream, fellow daily technology show. They I can't say. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Like I can't pronounce names. Perplexity CEO said that the web browser is supposed to come out already, but it's delayed to about mid-March, which is kind of like now, this week. So we're waiting on that. But I don't know what they're raising money for. Like if they're doing it specifically. Perplexity is in advanced talks for a new funding round that would value it at $14 billion, a more than 50% increase from late last year, according to people familiar with the matter. Venture capital firm Accel is set to lead the new round, which is expected to total $500 million. People familiar with the matter said, this raise underscores investors' enthusiasm for generative artificial intelligence companies, some of which have begun to challenge Google's long-standing dominance over search. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah. One thing to note too that I heard Perplexity CEO say directly is that the subscription revenue that they get is actually like a reasonable amount, and like they don't actually like they want to actually kind of keep down that route, and they'd rather have like that predictable subscription revenue coming in than like more sporadic than something like ads. Now I do know that they are introducing ads, or I haven't seen any ads, I guess. Maybe it's like the free version. But I know that they are eventually going to introduce personalized ads. But it is interesting stating that their subscription revenue is substantial enough that to keep kind of going down their path. And I obviously they're raising money because they need to move quicker, but yeah, I guess to me it didn't seem like subscription revenue, like $20 a month, would be enough to sustain what they're doing. Perplexity is valued at $9 billion last November. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's when they're yeah, it's its fourth round that year. The Wall Street Journal reported it is one of a set of AI startups that have grown quickly after the launch of ChatGPT 3 years ago. San Francisco-based company sells an AI-powered search tool that provides summarized answers using information gathered from the web instead of the list of blue links that users have long seen on Google. Perplexity offers answers in sentence form with links to the websites it pulls information from. And it's also notable that pretty much every AI service now has some sort of search integrated. Claude, ChatGPT, Mistral. Those are like the biggest platforms, I guess. I think even like DeepSeek has it, right? I will say the Perplexity's deep research though is not the best. I think OpenAI's deep research is way better, especially with the O models, O3, O4 mini. But I still like Perplexity for the search. It is also planning to launch its own web browser called Comet, potentially early challenge to incumbents such as Google Chrome and Apple Safari. Last week, Apple executive Eddie Q said that Google searches over Safari web browsers fell over the past 2 months for the first time in more than 20 years. Apple did, Google did contest that and released a out of place like post saying like, "Oh, we've seen it rise, so we're not sure what's going on." But this is likely due to Apple, or the exclusiveness that Apple would pay to Apple. Google paid to Apple, like over their having Google as the default search engine on Safari. Q said that Apple has held conversations with Perplexity, OpenAI, and Anthropic about adding AI search features into Safari. Google's share price dropped more than 7% after the news about the comments, which were delivered during the penalty trial phase of the Justice Department's antitrust lawsuit against Google. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's, if if that person's lying, then, they could be in contempt of court, so. Perplexity has been criticized by news publications for using their content without permission or compensation. Last year, the Wall Street Journal parent company Dow Jones sued Perplexity, and the New York Times sent a cease and desist notice. The startup faces rising competition from other well-funded tech companies. Last year, OpenAI added search engine to ChatGPT and recently made the service available to all of its users. Google has introduced the AI-powered search feature called AI Overviews last May, and I said Anthropic's Claude has it. Pretty sure Mistral also has search now. As part of a new funding, Accel partners Samir Gandhi is set to join Perplexity's board. Interesting. The people said. Yeah, Perplexity is continuing to grow. Which I think is good. I mean, I like Perplexity. I think they're one of the better, more useful AI companies right now, like directly. And I like that they're upsetting, theoretically, big tech. This is the SoftBank earnings is interesting. It's very relevant with OpenAI. I don't think we're going to look at it though right now. Okay. Move to big tech drama. Apple to support brain implant control of its devices. iPhone Maker works with startup Synchron on new brain-computer interface to assist people with disabilities. Let's look at Synchron real quick. I've never heard of these guys. So it seems like they're competing with Neuralink, Elon Musk's Neuralink. Brain-computer interface designed to enable people to use their thoughts to control a digital device. I mean, it seems cool. I wonder, like, what it... They released an AI model. Combined with NVIDIA's real-time AI computing and Apple Vision Pro to control his smart home devices. I'm assuming there's like some sort of disability, so I don't want to like make fun of that, but like controlling your smart home devices like is like like, oh, let me just turn on my light and just like think about it. Oops. Sorry, hang on. Privacy things acting up. I missed it. Let's watch this video, then we'll read the article here. Oh, their interface is horrible. And his ALS cannot use his hands or voice to engage with his environment. Got it. So yeah, this is a good use then. Sorry, I didn't mean. I want to see what the like more about like where the implant is, how they get in there, how they're actually interfacing with the brain. NVIDIA HoloScan, NVIDIA Cloud XR, and then Apple Vision Pro. How the like NVIDIA's managed to ride almost every emerging technology wave since the internet, pretty much. Like games, cloud computing, crypto, AI, now brain, implants, like VR, AR. Like they are just doing something right. Okay, this is it. I wonder what that thing is, though, from NVIDIA. And I wonder if he uses his eyes. I think that's how you do it on an Apple. Okay, this is so cool. So it also looks like that they're using NVIDIA to like detect objects, and then that could be used in turn to like decide the control or what to show or something for like the control, like smart home controls.
When I turn up, you get going at every stop, baby. Oh, it's showing. If I should stay, you find a reason to leave. When I'm busy, it's the time you are free. Just tell me, what should I do? How can I get? Oh, how can I get through? How can I get through? Tell me, baby. Please.
Cleaning started.
Can I get through to you?
BCI brain chip implant, I'm assuming. This is kind of crazy though. So this is what Apple is doing. I want to see more about the chip. Your body doesn't get your brain's message. A range of health conditions can contribute to limited mobility, and the ability to access personal computing devices could widen your world. True. When you tend to move your body, your brain's command center sends a signal. A brainstem stroke can cause a broken motor signal. So click the plus sign to see a broken. Oh, I see. Healthy nerve cells transmit these brain signals to the body via a spinal cord. Spinal cord injury could block motor signals. Your body receives these signals and responds by moving your muscles. ALS, among other nervous system diseases, can affect the signal here. It's interesting if you think about it, just like normal troubleshooting, like walking down the areas of which the signal like kind of sends to, like, it. I'm abstracting it to think about like almost like running a cable and troubleshooting, two sides of a cable, and like, there's different spots in between that it could potentially not work for various reasons, i.e. Injuries at different points causing different motor functions or functions of your body to not work. Rheumatoid arthritis or tremors may affect the signal here. This allows you to use our fingers on a touch screen to do important tasks. Okay, I mean, there wasn't much there, but see the technology. Synchron's brain chip implant aims to restore the control of a touchscreen for patients with limited hand mobility using only their thoughts. Technology is designed to work inside the body to help enable everyday tasks like scheduling a medical appointment, texting a friend, or purchasing a special gift. The Stentrode electrode array that sends motor signals within blood vessels. The IRT sends and receives signals. Oh, is this inside or outside of the body? App, smartphone, or tablet that connects to the world. That's crazy, bro. Just like an app. But what is this, like, diagram, though? Like, they couldn't have done any better. The SPU processes and sends signals to personal devices. Signal processing unit, likely. Investigational device limited by federal United States law to investigational use. Which, Well, it's a 12-minute video. I'm not going to watch this, but okay, it's interesting. I mean, this is cool. I mean, this is a great initial use case. But I think just in general, like to give people with like ALS or any sort of nerve, any problems with like nervous systems or, you know, motor skills, like it'd be insane if we could solve that as humans. Like that's like literally, you know, that's crazy to be able to solve that. So this is cool. Okay, technology. Oh wait, the platform. No, we actually never went to this. A new field of medicine. A new field of medicine is here. Functional neurointervention. Our endovascular approach is designed to deliver electronics through the brain without open brain surgery. Oh, that's what I was wondering. The thousands of blood vessels, the uncharted highways into the brain. We did see that they are connecting to that. Access to patients. Tens of thousands of interventional physicians already perform procedures globally. That's 10x the clinical network compared to traditional BCI technologies. Interesting. Access to data. First to market opportunity, setting a new gold standard in endovascular functional brain data. This seems to be different than the approach of like someone like Neuralink. Neuralink seems to be going direct on the brain. Access at scale. Our neurointerventional electrophysiology platform is built on the Stentrode, an endovascular electrode array. It is designed to record or stimulate the brain from inside the blood vessels. The field of function neurointervention will include brain-computer interfaces, that's BCI, brain mapping, brain monitoring, and deep brain stimulation. Synchron is working to deliver this vision over the next 10 years. I mean, the fact that they're already this far, you know, it's like it's pretty good. I don't know when they wrote this, but okay, let's actually read the article about Apple. Apple to support brain implant control of its devices. iPhone Maker works with startup Synchron on new brain-computer interface to assist people with disabilities. Apple just announced a slew of accessibility features for iPhones. Apple's embracing the world of brain-computer interfaces, unveiling a new technology that one day could revolutionize how humans interact with their devices. The company is taking early steps to enable people to control their iPhones with neural signals captured by a new generation of brain implants. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what we just saw. It could make Apple devices more accessible to tens of thousands of people who can't use their hands because of severe spinal cord injuries or diseases such as amyotrophic lateral ALS. I actually didn't know what it stood for. Apple's looking forward to a day, still some years away, when implants developed by Elon Musk's Neuralink and its rivals receive approval from the FDA, such implants known as brain-computer interfaces (BCI) have already been safely placed in a handful of patients. So, yeah, I don't know actually what Neuralink is. This is for Neuralink. Second patient in trial for Elon Musk. Neuralink uses design software for video games. Neuralink makes brain reading implants aimed to help people with severe spinal cord. I just want to see how it's. Yeah, so this is theirs seems a lot more complex. Each thread has 16 electrodes that monitor electrical signals as they fire among nearby neurons, relaying the information back to the chip. Chip digitizes the data and sends it to Neuralink's app on a computer, which translates it into actions such as moving a computer cursor or left-clicking a mouse. Yes, one of the Neuralink's big advantages is the device transmits data wirelessly and can be worn without being attached to external computers. As a result, people can use the device at home, unlike other older tech that generally have been used in a lab setting. I guess this is kind of outdated now. Anyways, because Synchron can also do that. Historically, humans interacted with their computers mechanically using keyboard and mice. And there's also, I'm thinking about this too as a emerging technology, not just for medical, but just for general productivity increase. If you could just do things at the speed of thought, then fuck, man. Doing like crazy shit. And essentially speed of thought that then goes into an AI that could like potentially just do the thing for you. Shit. Smartphones introduced touch, a behavioral input, but still an observable physical movement. The new capability means Apple devices won't need to see the user make specific movements. The devices can detect user intentions from decoded brain signals. Actually it's crazy because I was like, the guy in the video we watched, I was like, how is he clicking? And I assumed that maybe he could like, I don't know, like still like press something on like with his finger or something, but maybe he's just thinking like click, you know, or like he's thinking like pressing the button, so it's just doing it then. Apple's worked on the new standard with Synchron, which makes a stent-like device. Is a stent like that heart thing? The thing that goes like in your heart? Like heart monitoring? Metal or plastic tube inserted into the lumen of the vessel or duct to keep the passageway open? Ah, okay. Implanted in a vein atop the brain's motor cortex, the device called the stentrode has electrodes that read brain signals. Interesting. It translates the signals into selecting icons on a screen. Apple took a similar step in 2014 when it launched a technology standard for hearing aids that communicate with iPhones via Bluetooth, a standard most hearing aids have since adopted. But this is competing different technology, it seems like, than what Neuralink is, so. Mark Jackson, an early tester of the Stenrode implant, was able to peer over the ledge of a mountain in the Swiss Alps and feel his legs shake. Jackson can't stand up, and he wasn't in Switzerland. He was wearing an Apple virtual reality headset, which was connected to his implant. Now, Apple Vision Pro also is not doing, like, it didn't sell as well as they had thought. So I could see Apple wanting to expand the use cases just to make it sell better, or like, you know, to plan itself as a early device for something like these brain chip implants. Jackson can't travel from his home outside Pittsburgh because he has ALS. Still, he is learning how to control his iPhone, iPad, and Vision Pro headset thanks to a connection between his Stenrode implant and Apple's various operating systems. This Synchron device effectively translates brain waves, allowing a user to navigate around a screen and select an icon. It works with features inside Apple's operating system called Switch Control, which literally switches controls to a new input device, like a joystick, or in this case, a brain implant. This also seems similar to Microsoft, their like accessibility controller for Xbox, where it kind of has various different types of devices to do things to cater to certain disabilities, so people could still use the device to either play video games or just to like control it to like watch movies in Netflix or something. Jackson cautioned that Synchron's technology is still early in development. In its development, it can use it to mimic moving a cursor with a mouse or a touch screen with fingers, so navigation is much slower than normal interaction with a computer or smartphone. Today, brain-computer interface companies have to trick computers into thinking the signals coming from their implants are coming from a mouse. Interesting, said Synchron Chief Executive Tom Oxley. More is possible with a standard built specifically for these implants, he said. Apple will release a new standard later this year for other developers. Today, brain-computer interface companies have to trick computers into thinking signals coming from their implants are coming from a mouse. You think there'd be some sort of like in between, that could like translate the signal? The first user of Neuralink's implant has shown that he can move a cursor with his thoughts faster than some people can with a mouse. Its device, called the N1, captures much more brain data than Synchron because it has more than 1,000 electrodes picking up neural activity compared to the Stenrode's 16. Okay, that's interesting. And it's also not what we just looked at when we clicked on it. Oh, each thread has 16 electrodes. Got it. And it seems like there's a lot of threads. I see. Got it. So it was correct. Or this is referencing, like, so it seems like it could be directionally correct. Also, the N1's electrodes are implanted inside the brain rather than placed on top of it. The neural data picked up by its implants is converted into mouse clicks or keyboard strokes. Musk has extolled the potential of such implants for all people, saying they could amplify the brain's capabilities and enable humans to compete on equal footing with super intelligent AI systems. He's not wrong, but it's like, bro, why would I trust a fucking brain implant from Elon Musk? Like, bro, my brain's getting fried. Or like you just get it implanted and he just keeps promising things that never happen. And you just have this implant that's worthless. Synchron has implanted its Steno devices in 10 people since 2019. Morgan Stanley has estimated that around 150,000 people in the US who suffer from critical upper limb impairments could be early candidates for brain-computer interface devices. It anticipates that the first commercial approval for such a device will come in 2030. That's like not that far, all things considered. 5 years. It anticipates that the first commercial approval for a device will come in 2030. I already read that. Oxley said he believes Synchron will be received approval before then. All right, wow. There's also like there's like a lot of positive like order of effects that could come from something like this. Even if it's just like half of your body. So like, let's say like it's like you can't move any limbs and you could now just move your arms. Like that is so like that is insane about how much of an improvement that is, because you could do things on your own because of like, you could at least be in a wheelchair still. But like, relatively speaking, and actually I don't want to say that, but like you can navigate the world much better in just a wheelchair than you can, not being able to move your arms. And it also enables you likely to be more self-sufficient, potentially getting a job. I not to like say that, but like if you could, make people who otherwise couldn't contribute to the economy be contributors, to me that seems like the government should just fund it, but if nothing else, it allows them to just have more control over their life and live their life. I think that's like the best result you could get, even like that, we watched the guy with ALS. Even if, he can't yet move his limbs, the brain implant can't fix that yet, he can at least do things in his environment, on his own. And I think that is still a big win. So this is cool. I'd love to see a headset that doesn't cost thousands of dollars, though. Maybe in more accessible headsets. So, all right, let's look at. This is just a quickie. iOS 19 will improve iPhone features that let you preserve your voice. 2 years ago, Apple introduced a personal, and this is Mac Rumors here, personal voice feature that allows those at risk of losing their ability to speak to create a synthesized voice that sounds similar to their actual voice so they can continue to communicate with others. This is kind of, it seems like it's along the lines of, accessibility. This feature debuted in the iPhone with iOS 17 and will be getting even better on iOS 19. This is probably what they did for like Siri. Same technology. Apple today announced that personal voice will be faster and easier to use on iOS 19 thanks to advancements in on-device machine learning and artificial intelligence. Apple says users will be able to create a smoother, more natural sounding voice in less than a minute, down from 15 minutes when the feature initially launched. Yeah, and it integrates with other accessibility features such called live speech, which lets users type what they want to say to have it spoken aloud during in-person conversations, phone calls, and FaceTime video. Yeah. Apple's such an interesting company and like what they deem like important, like what features. Because like they aren't like they haven't been doing much innovating, if I'm being honest lately. Like the Apple Vision Pro, yeah, but like they might have been ahead of their time, or they just did bad marketing because it's not doing so hot, but yeah. All right, Microsoft is laying off 3% of its workforce. They had 228,000 employees. They have so many employees. But the maker of Windows in Word is aiming to reduce management layers. And this reducing management has been a larger trend in corporate America. My company I worked for before I was laid off, they pretty much fired all the managers and there was zero middle management. And they just like then said they pretty much then gave like each team a working manager, but like the working manager spent so much time, or like working lead spent so much time being the manager that they fired that they were just the new manager, you know? And this is as we are going through an agile transformation, and like they wanted to be all like agile and shit. It was horrible. It was literally did nothing, accomplished nothing. So I guess it's interesting now Microsoft is, you know, wanting to still reduce the management layers. But yeah, Microsoft on Tuesday said that it's laying off 3% of employees across all levels, teams, and geographies. We continue to implement organizational changes necessary to best position the company for success in a dynamic marketplace, Microsoft spokesperson said in a statement to CNBC. The company reported better than expected results with $25.8 billion in the quarterly net income and an upbeat forecast in late April. Yeah, I guess it is interesting that like they are laying people off. I also do own Microsoft shares, by the way. I think I have to disclose that. I think it's my second biggest behind Nvidia. Gotta cash in on OpenAI somehow. Microsoft had 228,000 employees worldwide at the end of June, meaning that the move will affect thousands of employees. Yeah, 3% of 228,000. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's likely Microsoft's second round of layoffs since the elimination of 10,000 roles in 2023. I also wonder if this includes like Activision Blizzard or like just Microsoft or like any of its subsidiaries or anything. Microsoft round, largest round since elimination of 10,000 roles in January. In 2023, in January, the company announced a small round of layoffs that were performance based. These new job cuts are not related to performance, the spokesperson said. Yep, just unlucky. I wonder. Hopefully, they get like some sort of severance. One object is to reduce layers of management, the spokesperson said. In January, Amazon announced that it was getting rid of some employees after noticing unnecessary layers in its organization. Yeah. You know, and I think that there is an interesting, like the politics in this are interesting in the sense that it's in those management's best interest for them to like want to make their job feel useful if they know that it's not. Adding on to the kind of bloat and bureaucratic processes in these big tech companies. And like I do feel like a lot of the managers, like there's a lot of jobs in like large companies that are unnecessary. Especially if you have a pretty clear, like in a bigger tech company, when it's like it's pretty clear like what the job actually is. And so like there's just sometimes like, you know, just like do your job and like it's pretty straightforward, I guess. Last week, cybersecurity software provider CrowdStrike announced it would lay off 5% of its workforce. In January, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella told analysts that the company would make sales execution changes that led to lower growth than expected in Azure cloud revenue that wasn't tied to artificial intelligence. Performance in AI cloud growth outdid internal projections. I mean, I guess that doesn't surprise me, but we looked at Microsoft earnings last week, 2 weeks ago, so it looked like pretty reasonable, I guess. It didn't look bad at all. How do you really tweak the incentives go to market? Nadella said, at a time of platform shifts, you kind of want to make sure you lean into even the new design wins. And you don't just keep doing the stuff that you did in the previous generation. I mean, I love that mentality. You know, it's like he's like, we got to change with the times, not just keep doing, you know, the same shit that's gonna go out of date. On Monday, Microsoft shares ended trading at $4.49, the highest price so far this year. They closed at a record $4.67 last July. Dang, it's actually down since last July. And they're down today, which is interesting. You think on a workforce cut, they would be up. But they're doing good past month. 367, like up $100 nearly. Like, take that. We take it. I'm gonna say this story. We looked at inflation. I thought this. We'll just do some rapid fire here, and I actually have two videos to watch. Maybe we have a few videos to watch. We'll move on to that. But Google updating its G icon for the first time in 10 years. Ew. What is this, bro? The gradients? Like, nah, bro. Bring this. The other one isn't even that good, if I'm being honest. This is worse. This is like the fucking Instagram logo. On the black, it looks good. On this background, it does look good. Actually, it doesn't look that bad on the Square apps. But like, yeah, it's like Gemini. They're right. But like, this is like Instagram logo. You know? Ew. Bring this sucker back here. But it's kind of just boring is the point now. I don't know. Whatever. All right. Oh yeah. Shit. This I think we'll save today. We'll save this, but this thing is insane. Multiverse finance. This is the kind of shit I want to see when it comes to stable coins and crypto. So it has to do with prediction markets, but we're definitely gonna look at this. I don't think we're gonna do it today. Okay. Let me just make sure I have all these saved. All right. We're going to save that one and this one. So this is Rocket Lab, who also owns stock in. But notably, short sellers, Rocket Lab short. Let's see if we could just get a quick I'm the wrong, like, I don't I'm the wrong person to look at this and like understand it. Essentially, there were people who were shorting Rocket Lab, saying that their neutron rocket is this is crazy. I've like not, I don't really read like critic. There's short sellers that essentially said that Rocket Lab was their neutron rocket. This rocket here was not going to launch until like next summer, and it was so far behind, and so they shorted the stock. The stock went down like 20% or something insane. Looking for a content calendar. How do I get to Perplexity Finance? I hate that it's like this. Just like the one downside of Perplexity. Like, how do I just get to Perplexity Finance? I just want to finance. No, this is just topics. Yeah, Coinbase is on the S&P 500, which is cool. Okay, let's go to Rocket Lab. Go 1 year. Yeah, I don't remember when, but there's like short sellers. Short sellers bought like the stock, and the stock tanked. 32% revenue growth. Like, look at this. Now they aren't making money yet, but I think that they will have a place in the future of the space economy. I mean, the fact that they already are a full service launch provider, build your satellite, launch it, maintain it, you know, service it, and they're actually launching rockets. They're way further ahead of most other rocket companies. Anyways, this is October. Recent data suggests Rocket Lab could be the next big short squeeze. The space exploration company has garnered significant momentum over the past 6 months, surging more than 200%. This week, winning streak hasn't subsided. So far, this week, shares are still rising steadily. I'm pretty sure I'm also down on Rocket Lab still. Just as an investment. A massive short squeeze. Rocket Lab isn't often discussed when the topics turn to likely short squeeze candidates, but while it may not be typical meme stock, it has recently surged warrants a closer look. Yeah, I am down 11% on Rocket Lab, but up being 4% today is pretty good. Yeah, I bought in January. I bought on 116 specifically. I bought down here. $24.88, a little above this. And it just kind of been going down since. I feel like around here is well, you could like highlight like this. This is like the short, I swear. It was around this time. Because it was shortly after I bought it. Okay, anyways. Let's watch this. So this gives me hope. This is seriously the chart? Like NASDAQ? Really? This is all you can come up with? I guess this is some other... It's a different publisher. Yeah, it is an unproven company, but to me it's proven enough. Alright. You guys could see, it says Neutron Stage 1 qualification. The way that they're faring is interesting. Now this is just stage 1 still. But I also think this is it's supposed to be reusable too. Okay, that was it. Yeah. Did cargo planes in and out of Auckland recently? I wonder if this is was on board of one of them. Interesting. Yeah, they're Rocket Lab's a New Zealand company. The founder is like a New Zealand. See if they have any other videos recently. Nope, 1 month ago. Neutron. They're testing. I don't know. I mean, I'm holding for the long run, you know, so to me it's if they do it this year or in 2 years, like it's fine. Okay, then I found this I don't know, this just popped up and I was like watching these, you know, emerging technology videos, so let's just see what this bad boy is. Quickly receive accurate intelligence and secure assistance in complex. How to find a one-stop solution provider that offers fully automated, advanced, and reliable hardware. I can't even read fast enough. Is this Santa Monica? Fully automated drone system solutions. Holloway Iron Series is assembled. Fuck me, bro. It's way too quick. Assembled by an industrial drone. In an automated dock. Iron Series is assembled by an industrial drone, and they just keep saying the same thing in different ways. Bro, it's going. I literally cannot read this. So it seems like this, like, it's actually more so this, like, device that holds the drones. They could, like, replace it. An automated docking system. It's interesting, actually. Oh, this is an interesting drone, too. Like, intelligent monitoring, recognition, analysis. This is definitely from China. This is definitely China. Holloway. Hollyway. Drone. Yeah, they're at a Bloomfield. His website's like like literally like the deep. It goes to Wix still. Like, they didn't even change the social media. Is this real? Like, guys, come on, use some better pictures. Oops. Is this in Indiana? Okay, interesting. I don't know. The dock itself seems like an interesting piece of technology. I don't know about the company though. This is all they have. Interesting. All right, that's gonna do it for today. Let's actually just take a peek at tech memes, see if there's any breaking headlines. Oh, Google announces Material 3 excessive design. I hate Material design. The new one is better, but like overall, I just think it's kind of soulless. It's very plain, too vanilla. Oh yeah, Google I/O is same week as Computex, I think. Actually, it says it right here, May 20 to 21. We're gonna watch that, and then Microsoft Build is same time. Yeah, same week as Computex. Next week we got a lot. Google plans to showcase an AI software development lifecycle agent for developers and Pinterest-like features for consumers at Google I/O on May 20. Interesting. $6,000. That's 3%. Yeah, new DJI drone, but it's $2,100, €2,999. Hell expensive. Yeah. Okay. Oh, whoa. FTC v Meta. U.S. case might come down to whether Judge Boasberg believes blockchain social platform MeWe is a close competitor to Instagram and TikTok. Boasberg, come on, my dude. Like, this is some bullshit. Anyways, we'll look at that tomorrow. And actually, we'll look at that. All right. That's going to do it for today. I appreciate everyone. Hanging out, showing up. We'll be back tomorrow around 9 a.m. Pacific to continue news. I don't think there's any. Let me check the. I'm working on getting an actual calendar for stream, and we could put kind of events and stuff that we're gonna cover on stream on the calendar, and it'll be public. I don't really have a good way to do that now, but I don't think there's anything tomorrow. Next week we got Computex and stuff, but tomorrow just the usual news. I wonder if eToro is actually IPOing tomorrow. Yeah, nothing tomorrow. Cool. All right. We'll see everyone tomorrow on 9 a.m. Pacific, around then. Still no ending screen. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. See you tomorrow, 9 a.m.